You ready, boys? You got a king?
Go, fish dad.
Oh, come on. This is WWE superstar Titus O'Neil. The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Unified Championship Radio.
Ringside Rumble Radio here on the UCR network, and we are powered by Spreaker.com, and we're free on iTunes. Anthony the Ant-Man alongside Keith Logan and the Loganator.
Whoa.
Don't woe me. Don't woe me after your mistake.
What mistake? Do tell.
Our dear friend here, Keith, you have to excuse him. Our dear friend Keith Loganator has a short-term memory.
It's been a long week, so please.
It's been a long week for Keith. He fell asleep during Fastlane because he was not feeling well.
I was not feeling well at all. I was not under the
Raw
weather.
stunned him.
Raw stunned me, yeah.
He's in a state of shock. He forgot that we talked already about the brand extension, and then when I asked him during break about the brand extension, he's like, oh, you're right. So we're going to skip that and go straight into the Hall of Fame.
Real quick, are you going to watch SmackDown tonight?
I will try to watch SmackDown tonight.
As will I. You just got to because of the announcing. Just the announcing itself.
Yes, of course. Mauro Ranallo, man.
And Jerry the King. He's finally back to his heel ways.
Yes. Anything's better than Byron Saxton. Sorry. You keep passing that fake blood capsule to Roman Reigns.
And a meat hook.
Oh,
dude, that was a clothesline. Come on. Get the names right.
Get the terminology correct because Keith Logan will come after you.
I'll take over your spot. That's what I'm going to do. I could call Raw.
Wow.
I could call Raw.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to hop aboard the Ho train.
Can you still say the whole train? Is that allowed to be said in this PG era of entertainment?
Isn't it weird, though, that all these things are happening on Monday Night Raw, and it's a coincidence that the Godfather is being put into the Hall of Fame?
Now, who's going to induct him into the Hall of Fame? Will there be hoes at the Hall of Fame?
I think it should be Cherry the King Lawler since he loves puppies so much.
Well, is he even allowed to say puppies anymore? That's what I want.
Puppies is a bad word?
When's the last time you heard the King say puppies on TV or on any WWE event?
There's really been not that many big puppies on television.
Well, there's no really divas.
There's no Deborah.
There's no Deborah. There's no really like divas like we talked about before, like lingerie contests, pillow fights, mud wrestling. That's kind of been pushed out of the WWE, and it's more wrestling, which I'm okay with.
I enjoyed a whole lot better.
Yeah.
But it took us a while to get there because, I mean, they did have good competitors. Trish Stratus
Lita
became a great wrestler. Lita, she was a great wrestler. Molly Holly.
But then you had some others
Ivory.
Kind of like, those are good. Then you had others.
Jacqueline
was good too. But then you had others that kind of like you scratch your head.
Stacy Keibler was not a wrestler.
No. Tori Wilson, she dated one. She was married to one.
She was very eye candy. That's why she dated Alex Rodriguez.
And she was also married to Billy Kidman.
Oh.
In case you did not know that.
I miss Billy Kidman.
So do I.
He was one of my favorites in WCW.
He could do the shooting star press better than anybody. So.
What are your thoughts on the Godfather being in the Hall of Fame?
Well, he played many characters in the WWE. If you remember, he was the Papa Shango, the one, the only Papa Shango.
I'll never forget when he had his feud with the Ultimate Warrior and he had the fake ooze coming down from his head and then he made him throw up and all that.
Were you scared? Were you one of those kids like, what is happening?
I think I was more scared when I was before that with The Undertaker. I think he scared me when I was a little kid.
He was more the fear factor for me as well. I thought he was cool, though. But then when Kane came, then I was like, wow, this guy's he was burned, and he's the Undertaker's brother, and he just ripped that cage off. I was like, wow.
How does Papa Shango mess up his only spot at WrestleMania? At WrestleMania 8, he missed his cue, and the ending to Hulk Hogan Sid Justice was just a mess because he missed his cue, and it got overthought of because the Ultimate Warrior returned. But that's what I'll never forget about Papa Shango, and that's why he's not being inducted into the Hall of Fame.
It's being the Godfather. So maybe I have to watch that now again, rewatch that, and see where you talked about.
Yeah, it's not something that you'll see it. You'll see and you'll have to read up on it, but like he just missed his cue to come out. He came out a little too late.
Well, the Godfather, he won the Intercontinental Championship. He was, I believe, a tag team champion. He was in the Nation of Domination. He was the conductor of the Ho Train. You can't forget that one. And did he hold the Hardcore title?
I don't think so.
Because towards the end of the early 2000s, when the Hardcore title was like 24/7, you lost count on how many people actually won, how they held it for like a minute, less than a minute. So that was like towards the end when the Hardcore title was like irrelevant. You're just like, all right, this guy was a champion for 3 seconds. This guy was for a second. Hardcore Holly was the
well, that's because it was on the line 24/7.
Yeah, well, Crash Holly made that possible, and then he held it for X amount of times. So I don't know if he was a Hardcore champion, but that's besides the point. But I can see it. He was a big part of the Attitude Era, I think.
I think what people need to realize about the Hall of Fame is it's really kind of not about, I guess it's really not mainly about just your accomplishments. Because then a Rick Rude should be in there. Of course, an Owen Hart should be in there. And they're not in there right now.
I would even say, who's another one I could see? There's so many.
A plethora of superstars
like that
should
word.
be in there. So I guess from a gimmick standpoint and from a just of what he did during the Attitude Era, yeah, he belongs in there. I mean, just also I think it counts as the way your character gets over. He was so over as the Godfather.
Yeah. Well, remember that was like the mid '90s. That was the Attitude Era. So anything could happen. You had Sable disrobe in the ring, and it was just like ridiculous. You had Stone Cold flipping off Vince McMahon, people dropping H-bombs and Fs and this and that. So I enjoyed that era of wrestling. So I'm comfortable with him joining the Hall of Fame. Did he have many accomplishments? No. But I feel if you're a wrestling fan and you mention the Godfather, you know who he is and what he did. So, yeah, I'm comfortable with him.
I think people get a little upset also because there are other people who are more deserving that should be in there right now that are not yet in there. Like Coco Beware being in there is just like,
yeah.
Well, yeah, like why now?
And I can see people getting upset because he's going into the class with Sting, and it's just the two of them that have been announced so far. But who else could you see right now? Who's next right now to be into that class?
During lunch, I was thinking about someone that should be in the Hall of Fame. And we all know that the WWE has taken wrestlers from WWE. They've taken wrestlers from WCW and like other organizations, AWA, UWF, WCCW. But I haven't really seen anyone from ECW.
I was thinking that before
and
as well.
one guy that I think needs to be put into the Hall of Fame is the franchise Shane Douglas.
I could see that happening.
I don't know what his relationship is with the WWE or any of that stuff, but he had an amazing career and made himself in ECW.
And he was also in WCW. He was also in WWE. Another man that comes to my mind, if you're talking ECW, that when you say ECW, you think of this guy instantly, would be Tommy Dreamer.
Yep.
I think he was the only ECW original to hold the original ECW championship and the ECW championship when they revived it in the WWE. and he took so many
Bumps and stuff.
that he has had so many concussions that they even said like he can't even do any moves. When he came back for that brief stint with the Dudleys, he really didn't do much. I mean, he was thrown outside the ring, but he can't really wrestle as much.
You know, we'll throw this out to the fans tonight. Who do you want to see get put next into the? Who do you want to see next get put into the Hall of Fame? My friend here says Tommy Dreamer. I say Shane Douglas. We want to know from you. Who do you guys think need to be in the Hall of Fame? And hashtag UCR Network and RRR. Talking about like hardcore-ish type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just made up a new word. But
Hey.
talking about that,
Hashtag that.
TNA Lethal Lockdown was awesome. And that you don't say that too much about TNA stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But TNA Lethal Lockdown was really cool. They had all the cage matches. They had Beer Money against Bram and Young, which was a good way to start off the night. They had the ladies. The ladies get in there and have a little Lethal Lockdown match. And Maria.
Was Gail Kim in
Beautiful.
the lady
Gail
match?
Kim, that's another beautiful one. She was in there, yeah. And, of course, Kurt Angle finishing up his tour.
Who'd he face?
He only talked
Okay.
and had a back and forth with Lashley, who was his final opponent. But next week, Kurt Angle's going to take on Bobby Roode, so that's something you're not going to want to miss, as well as Michael Bennett taking on Drew Galloway. So that's, I mean, they're starting to get together and put a string together of good nights. EC3 against Matt Hardy for the championship was a good match.
They still need to go live a few times, even if it's like once a month or 2 times a month. They need to do at least some sort of live TV, because these 4 weeks of spoiler results online kind of just, you're just like, eh.
You know what the thing is? We've been so spoiled with Monday Night Raw.
That's
and
true.
That being live. You don't remember when we used to watch Superstars
Mm-hmm.
or All American Wrestling or WWE Mania. Those were all taped.
Mm-hmm.
Those were all taped. I think the problem is, and we don't know how long that was taped for.
Well, even
But
Raw.
the thing is, for SmackDown to be taped 4 days before and then put on, that's what the thing that TNA needs to
But
do.
even Raw was taped years ago, before the whole internet came out.
Yep.
So we'll quickly remember when WCW gave the results,
Right.
because WCW was the big boy and they were live.
Yep. Well, TNA is. Hey, we always talk about TNA and how they're having their problems, but they put on a good show, and next week looks like to be another one. So tune into that. Tune in to this Friday for a Ring of Honor pay-per-view. It's their 14th anniversary pay-per-view, and you got some of the matches lined up there for us, my friend. The Party Peacock, is he in there?
Yes, he's like the only one I can really care about right now. So he will be in action. I'm trying to get my...
The main event, triple threat, Jay Lethal against Adam Cole against Kyle O'Reilly. That's a match that I would want to see.
Is
War Machine defends their
I
tag
was
team
just going to
titles
ask you,
against
is
All Night Express.
War Machine there in it?
Yep.
They have a couple of Japanese wrestlers in too, because you know how they have the New Japan...
Yep. Dalton Castle against Hiroki Goto.
That's going
I
to be...
hope I said that right. How about this? Alex Shelley versus Christopher Daniels.
You have the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega versus Kushida.
The Briscoes versus Tanahashi and Michael Elgin. And my boy, the Rainmaker, Okada versus Moose.
That's going to be a good match.
Hey, man, that's going to be
Did you say
good...
Alex Shelley too?
I did.
Okay, good.
And that's going to be a nice pay-per-view.
They said also signed to appear is Cheeseburger, Silas Young, who you don't really like, but I kind of
You like
like
him?
that. When we saw him in Philadelphia, he wasn't really over with the fans, but he played a good heel, so...
All right. Yeah, man. I guess so. I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of him. But we got, about 30 seconds to go. I had big news to say before the show, but we had gotten to so much good stuff that I saved it for the end. And that is Anthony the Ant-Man and Keith Logan the Loganator will be live in Newark at the Prudential Center for WWE Extreme Rules. Come join us.
Take pictures with us.
Take pictures with us and join the what will be a great pay-per-view for WWE Extreme
The
Rules.
RRR Nation.
RRR Nation in full effect. And we got a big crew going with us.
Yeah, we do.
It's going to be a big night. But until next week, you've been listening to Ringside Rumble Radio here on the UCR Network, powered by Spreaker.com and free on iTunes. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.